Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 7-3, and we're going to work with locating fractions on a number line. Along with that, we're also going to introduce something a little new. It's introducing fractions that go greater than 1. Okay, I'm going to quickly break that down for you. Some of you may be like, oh my goodness, it sounds so hard, but really it's not. So, if I were to say this candy bar, and put candy on it, this is our whole candy bar. Okay? So this is our whole candy bar. This is our 1 out of 1. It's all of it. But if I were to break the candy bar into 3 pieces, you would have 3 out of 3 would be the candy bar, correct? Okay. Say I had another candy bar in there. This doesn't equal 2 out of 2. This still is our whole. It's just now you have 2 wholes. Okay? So now you have 6 thirds. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thirds. Not 6 sixes, because that still equals 1. And remember, we have 2 candy bars. 6 thirds will equal 2, because it'll tell you that there's 2 holes in there. Because a hole is 3. If you have 2 holes, then you'd have 6. So if I told you that you had 4 thirds of a candy bar, that would equal you had 1 hole and 1 third. See, here's your 1 hole, and there's your 1 third. Okay? So just because the numerator might, when the numerator is bigger than the denominator, that means that you have more than a hole. And that's okay, because it's going to happen. It happens a lot. In measurement, once you go over 1 centimeter, you're going to be over a centimeter. Once you go over 1 foot, you're going to be over a foot. It's okay to go over it. So we're going to talk about that on the number lines, but I want you to have an understanding of more than 1. Because if your numerator and denominator equal the same, that means it equals 1. So if you think having 2 candy bars is 2 over 2, that still equals 1. Okay, so that you're telling me that's your whole, when it's not, because your whole is 1 candy bar. Alright, anyways, let's turn to the first page. 355. We're going to locate each fraction on the number line. Draw more number lines if you need to. Okay, you've been doing this. This is actually the last couple lessons. This should be kind of easy. When there's a 1 on top, it's pretty easy. It just tells you that's a unit fraction. If there's a 2 or a 5 on top, or whatever else is on top, focus more on the bottom. The bottom number, the denominator, tells you how many it needs to be broken up into. But always make sure you find out where the 1 is at, because now that we're talking about more than 1, you have to be aware of where that 1 is. In this case, 0 to 1 means you just break it into 4 pieces. Okay, then you're going to locate 1/4. It's the first one. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and this would be 4/4 at the end, which equals a whole. The next one, 0 to 1, you're going to break it into 8. Okay, and the first one would be 1/8. Because you have 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then 8/8 is a whole. Number 3, you're going to break it into 3 because it tells you into thirds. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this is 1/3 and this would be 2/3. Okay? Next one's 5, 6. So we're going to break that into 6. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the end. This wants you to mark 1/6 and 2/3. So I'm going to do them in 2 different colors. Let's do 1/6 first. Let me see. Okay. So I have my 1/6, meaning right here. And then I'm going to use red to find my 2/3, because if you look, it's going to look very similar. Now I have my thirds right here. Okay, just because there's other lines in the middle doesn't mean you still can't break it into another number. In thirds, you got 1/3 and 2/3. So 2/3 is there. Okay? Remember how the beginning says you can use an extra number line if you want? I say challenge ourselves. Let's just do it all in this. Just know how you're doing it. Know how you're separating it. Okay, 1/3. Same thing here. 1/3. I'm going to switch the color for 5/8. 5/8 we have 1/8 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eighths. And then 1 6 and 3/4. See, we'll break it into sixes. Obviously, my drawings aren't perfect. We have 1 6 here. I'll switch the color for 3/4. 3/4, we'd break it into 4. So we would have, let's see what would the best be. 1 2 3. This would still be the center. 2. Okay, these are how we break it into fourths. 1 2 3/4. Like I said, you could always use another extra number line. If there's a test or anything on it, make another number line. Whatever makes it easier for you. This way you can see how there's measurements, how close they are to each other. But they're not exact, because I'm even doing them myself. They're not even close to being exact. So, but it's close enough. All right, next page. This is where we start to look at greater than 1. Okay, this is where it's really important to find the 1. Okay, find the whole. Okay, so it says locate each fraction on the number line. This is 5/4, so that tells you it's more than 1. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to find the 1, break the 1 into the denominator, then continue through the next one. And I'll show you what that means. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, this is not hard by any means. This is not hard, so don't freak out about this. I'm going to ignore everything past the 1 right now. I'm going to focus on 0 to 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and this would be 4/4. And then because I know I'm working with fourths and I have 1 to 2 here, I have to break this into fourths. That gives me 5/4 there, 6/4, 7/4, and 8/4 is actually equal to 2. Okay, 4/4 is equal to 1 because it tells you 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8/4 tells you 8 divided by 4 would equal 2. So this would be your 5/4. Okay, notice it's more than 1, and that's okay. 8/3. It means you can have 8/3. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on 0 to 1 now. I'm going to break the 0 to 1 in thirds, and that was a really bad thirds, so I'm going to erase it. And I knew I messed that up. Darn it. Yeah, I can't exactly. Whatever. Okay, so I don't like what I did there, so I'm going to switch it. This is more like thirds right here. Okay. Anyways. Okay, so I have my 0 to 1 broken up in thirds, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to break 1 to 2 into thirds and 2 to 3 into thirds because it's the same as far as you go. Those are showing you thirds. Okay, so that's 1/3, 2/3, and then 3/3 would be 1. You have 4/3, 5/3, 6/3 would be 2. 7/3 and 7/3 and 8/3. And if I went further to 9/3, look at 9 divided by 3 equals 3 wholes. So my 8/3 would be down here. That tells you you're getting 1, 2, and 1 2/3. 2 and 2/3. That's if it's a candy bar. If it's something else, that's a lot. That's good. Okay. Next one. This says 5/1. Okay. This has the whole broken into 1. So you don't have to do anything for this. Okay. There's no lines in between. So basically 5/1 equals. This would be. This right here is 1/1, 2/1, 3/1, 4/1, and there's your 5/1 because 5 divided by 1 is 5. 8/6. Okay, you need to break the whole up into 6. So let's do it real quickly here. You have, okay, I broke 0 to 1 into 6s, so now I'm going to break all of them into 6s. Okay, these are all 6s. So now I need to go to 8/6. Remember, don't forget to count the whole. So I have 1, 1 6, 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6. So this is 6 6, which equals 1. Then you have 7 6 and 8 6. And I'm writing every one of them out. You don't need to. You just need to point out where 8, 6 is. So you could just count in your head. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't forget to count the holes. 7, 8. Okay, 6, 2. 6 halves. Okay, this is an easy one too. You just split everything into twos. So what would 6 of them be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 halves would really equal to 3, because 6 divided by 2 is 3. All right, we are running way out of time. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over these 2 pages with you in small group. If you have time to start them now, go right ahead, but we're going to work on them in small group.